Hi, my name is Corinne Avnery, and I will be introducing Team 3's topic of Trump's outlook on energy. President Trump gave a speech at the United Nations General Assembly on September 25, 2018. In this speech, he addressed several important topics, including America's production and importation of oil and its relationship with OPEC nations. OPEC, which stands for Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, holds most of the world's oil reserves and therefore controls petroleum prices. However, Trump stated that America has become the largest energy producer anywhere on the face of the earth. The innovation of shale oil production in the United States is a factor that allowed the country to become such a powerful energy holder. America still has to import oil from foreign countries, though, because not all of its industries can work with shale oil. In his speech, Trump says OPEC's oil prices are too high and calls on them to stop raising those prices. He also warns countries like Germany of the danger of becoming too dependent on one nation for supplies, such as oil, coal, and natural gas.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Braun, and I'm going to discuss the relationship between the United States and OPEC nations. The nations in OPEC are petroleum exporting countries. The main members are United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is the largest producer of oil and has 1/5 of the world's supply. The relationship between the U.S. and the OPEC nations is geopolitical. It involves economics and energy policies, along with battle in between consumers and producers. The consumers, which is the U.S., want the lowest price for oil, while the producers, like OPEC nations, want the highest price. OPEC was created to develop a fair way to create these policies and these prices, which will help both the OPEC nations and the U.S. continue to have a steady energy supply while helping the economy grow.
Hi, my name is Emily Alvarez, and I'm going to be presenting the slide on U.S. production and importation of oil. As stated by President Donald Trump, the United States is one of the biggest energy producers and a leading country in the oil industry. With growing shale formations in different areas of the U.S., the abundance of resources such as oil, coal, and natural gas have increased and production has risen. This is an important factor for the worldwide market, and it can potentially improve economic relations and bring allies closer, thus opening the market even more. The U.S. has surpassed Russia and Saudi Arabia in oil production. Even though about 7 million barrels are still important, the new shale formations have boosted the U.S. crude production. The U.S. is a producer of light oil, which many countries don't have. Many countries rely on heavy oil to power machines and factories. So it's a plus because the U.S. can export this light oil and only import heavy oil, since light oil is an abundant resource in the shale formations at home.
Recently, our President Donald Trump has accused OPEC and OPEC nations of ripping off the rest of the world. He said the U.S. defends many of these wealthy OPEC nations without them contributing any money to their protection, and then they take advantage of them by giving us high oil prices. Recently, OPEC worked out a deal with Russia and several other nations at the end of 2016 to remove 1.8 million barrels a day from the market. This would mean a glut of crude that would send prices from more than $100 a barrel in 2014 to about $26 in 2016. Saudi Arabia, OPEC's largest producer, refused to take action at first, arguing that the glut was caused by a flood of new U.S. oil production. That heaped pressure on nations and U.S. states that depend on oil revenue, bankrupted about 200 American energy companies, and wiped out hundreds of thousands of jobs.
That isn't the end of Trump's slander on OPEC, with him saying, "I don't like it, and nobody should like it." He directly attacks the organization and threatens action when he says he is not going to put up with these horrible prices much longer. It seems as if he doesn't expect that the actions he makes has any effect on the future. Beforehand, Trump's administration enacted sanctions on Iran, which will obviously push oil prices up. His seemingly unwarranted accusations are brash and slam all countries that are in OPEC, including Iran and Saudi Arabia.
Germany has the strongest economy in Europe, but with this strong economy comes a lot of responsibility. U.S. administrators have been accusing Germany of not contributing enough to NATO, and recently Trump stated that Germany is totally controlled by Russia, because they will be getting from 60 to 70% of their energy from Russia. Due to Germany's dependence on Russian energy, other European countries, such as Poland, have had to rely on Russian pipelines and are growing uneasy with their dependence. It is also a well-known fact that the United States spends a large percentage of its budget on defense. Consequently, Trump criticized Germany for using a little bit over 1% of its economic output on defense, compared to the 4.2% spent by the US. Trump is angry about these shortages of contribution from Germany because many members of the NATO agreement have not been as committed as they're supposed to be. After World War II, East Germany was controlled by Russia, and Trump believes that if Germany keeps on being dependent on Russia, then Russia's power over Germany will grow again. Trump is warning Germany to become less dependent on Russia and more involved in NATO, because he still feels that the United States is being cheated out of its money.
Hi, my name is Ishmael Hunter, and I'll be continuing warning for Germany. To this, German Chancellor Angela Merkel states that Germany has given a huge portion of its troops for NATO's usage, and that Germany is heavily involved in defending the United States of America's efforts in Afghanistan. In the BBC article about this event, it says Mr. Stoltenberg sought to play down Mr. Trump's accusations by saying he expected NATO leaders would agree that they are stronger together than apart. He also tried to separate arguments about trade, not a primary NATO concern, from discussions about military matters. Angela Merkel says that though part of Germany was at one point in time controlled by the Soviet Union, that does not mean that they're actively being controlled by them. She goes on to say, I am very happy that today we are united in freedom as the Federal Republic of Germany. Because of that, we can say that we can make our independent policies and make independent decisions. With this being said, Angela Merkel then stated that if they were solely looking at the pipeline gas, then Germany is an independent country. Angela Merkel says that the reason the energy input is the way it is to present a united front. Mr. Stoltenberg said, there are many disagreements on trade. This is serious. My task is to try and minimize the negative impact for NATO. The BBC article, Trump NATO, New War of Words with Merkel, it says, Mrs. Merkel said she had discussed migration and trade with Mr. Trump, and that she looked forward to further discussions as the US and Germany remained partners, showing that Germany is still trying to comply with the rest of the world.
Hi, my name is Leonardo Nicastro, and this is what Trump's future plans will be. So what does the president really mean, and what does he really want to do? OPEC is growing and will include Russia, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, and many other countries. Cutting production is a strong weapon in the hands of the redesigned OPEC group to drive prices up, which Trump hates. The NOPEC legislation would allow U.S. government to threaten OPEC members with legal action if they deliberately cut production to drive prices up. However, America's shale producers are likely to fill up the missing barrels. Trump repeatedly bashes OPEC for its incredibly high oil barrel prices, but recent events have shown the opposite. The State Department sent oil prices soaring 2 weeks ago when a senior official revealed the administration is urging buyers to completely eliminate their imports from Iran in November. Shipments from OPEC's third largest producer are widely expected to fall by roughly 1 million barrels a day in the coming months as U.S. regulations are made. As the unofficial leader of OPEC, Saudi leaders will work with Trump to combat the cruelty of Iran. In conclusion, the situation is extremely important in today's society, and Trump's plans for the future are being pursued at this moment, but still have a long way to go.
Thank you for watching our presentation. This video presentation was created by Emily Alvarez, and the rest of the subtopics were worked equally on by each team member in Team 3. Thank you.